Hello and welcome to Come With Us, a podcast to meet all your fantasy needs. I'm Susie Nunez.
And I'm Reshea Kelly, and each week we dive into the tempting world of books, seductive romance, and a sprinkle of spice.
Yes, we do. Hello, sinners, and welcome to season 2, episode 1. Can you believe it? Season 2. What? Who are they? They are doing the thing. I know. Of your new favorite podcast. Come with us. Uh, you know me. I'm Susie Nunez, your spicy host, and I just want to say happy 2024. What the heck? It's a new year. And I hate when people
Snaps,
say new year,
snaps.
new me. No, no, no. New year, better me. That's what I want. Not new me. No, no, no. We want you, but better, babes.
My name is Reshea Kelly, and New Year, New Me. No, I guess if we're not saying that, I can go with Reshea 2.0.
Love that.
I
Love it.
guess. The
Sinners,
best
if
I
you
got.
want to know what are your New Year's resolutions, or if you're not having any, because you're in a mental state when you're like, I'm having the same as last year, 2 years ago, but I'm doing it better. What are they? We want to know. Let us know. We're always active on, Instagram or socials or our socials or on TikTok. We're always there too.
I'm super duper excited for this season because we're like starting to hone in on like what this podcast is supposed to be about and how we like it. And I feel like we got some good stuff lined up for you. We got some really
I
good books. I'm so
know.
excited.
Oh, you guys, you sinners are not ready because the amount of smut that is coming for this
Ooh.
podcast is just woo. You will need a fan or maybe
Oh,
an
good Lord.
AC and a lot of water, babes, because you need to stay hydrated. We're gonna be talking about very hot topics. So you need water, you need to stay hydrated, and it's 2024. Why not have that new resolution, right? Okay, let's dive into it. Are you ready for today's episode? Because it's so good. I know.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody what our book is, or do you want me to?
Please do. I love it.
It's the book that ruined me, The Dare by Harley Laroux. She made me a whole new person.
I
A
know.
whole
I
new
know.
world. I cannot. Oh my God.
I know that the
Oh.
last season we were starting with what was new in your life or in your chapter right now, but this year
Mhm.
we want to have something a little bit more to the heart, a little bit more to like give back to the universe, right? So we are going to be asking every week, what are you grateful for? So Reshea, what are you grateful for this year or this week or this month?
Are we being serious right now?
Yeah.
If we're being serious, I am grateful for the town. I'm grateful for the town that I live in. I used to
Mm.
take the city town I live in for granted, because it's a small town in Westish, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and I don't always vibe here well, but we were just hit with a really bad tornado and like very close to my house, like a half a mile away. And watching how our whole community has just like band together to help our neighbors and those who have been displaced. I've got friends who are like pulling out of their savings to buy supplies for people, and the schools have been turned into like shelters, like Red Cross shelters, and people are donating blood and people are donating all of their extra clothes and blankets and jackets, and it's been awesome watching everybody. People are like getting presents together for the kids that don't have homes now that like all their presents got destroyed. It's been amazing. Yeah,
So you're
it's been
experiencing
awesome
community.
watching. Yeah, which is something that's I feel is more rare these days. So it's really
Totally.
great to see.
Love the fact that you're having that experience now. Really, it's beautiful. And if we don't
Yeah,
want the serious question, what would it be?
I'm grateful for homemade ramen and the fact that my son tried mushrooms and he didn't hate them. Oh God, my day was made.
I mean, she is accomplishing things as a mother, okay, and we love it.
How about you, Susie?
How about me? What am I grateful for? Let's say I'm grateful for my house. Now that you said that, and it made me think about, damn, You know, we're so good. We don't have any problems, like major problems. We don't have to worry about maybe a tornado coming in a minute. Thank God New York is the best. So yes, I'm very, very yeah, I'm very, very grateful for, you know, my roof and having a bed every night to go to bed. And I
Mhm.
think those are things that because we use every day, we don't tend to like recognize as being grateful for. But I'm definitely grateful for, and
Yeah.
I'm actually grateful for right now because you made me realize that. So thank you. I love it.
Oh. All right. And if you were not being serious, what
If
would you
I'm
be
not
grateful
being
for?
serious, what am I grateful for? The new vibrator that is going to be coming soon as a gift from a friend. It's the Beleza one. I think that's how you pronounce that name. I'm dying for them to be a sponsor for this
Oh, from
podcast because I
Belisar?
love them. Yes.
Oh, where it thrusts
Yeah.
for you?
I think that's the name. The thruster, something like that. Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. And if you guys want to sponsor us, please.
Okay. Back to what we made this whole podcast for this season, episode 1, season 2. We're coming at you hard with The Dare by Harley Laroux, one
Yes.
of the most amazing books to ever exist in 144 pages.
143 last word from this book, page 143, is her saying master. That's it. That's all you need to know. And it's so good. Okay. First of
Good
all,
Lord.
we need to okay. Okay. First of all, we need to tell them how we got here.
Mhm.
Season 1.
Oh yeah.
Two
It
people. Remember?
We had Tierney and Chelsea. So Tierney, what the fuck what is happening?
I don't know. Every time I move, is doing the thing. I have no idea.
This happened to me. This happened to me the other day. Except it was yeah, it happened to me today. It was a Facebook Messenger. So I don't understand. Is it Mac? Anyways, so we had Tierney, and then we had Chelsea Cohen from the amazing Chelsea Reads TikTok. They both independently of one another recommended this book.
Yes. And honestly, I just want to say thank you guys. You changed my life. I did not I don't you know when someone tells you about a book, man, and you're like, I know they're all great, but you don't get it when people are excited. I will
Mm-hmm.
die. I would do anything. I would exchange anything and everything to be Jess.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
Honestly. Honestly.
The only thing that makes me go, not sure I want to be the main character of this book is that it takes place in West Tennessee.
I know.
And
I
I'm
was
like,
reading
that's
the
too
name.
close.
Every time I was like seeing the name, I was like, Reshea, you're there. Maybe
Mm-mm.
Manson's there.
I know,
Reshea's
I'm
there.
so close. Listen, I'm a mere 2 hours away from where this book takes place. I don't even know if it's a real town, but oh god, I wish it was.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Reshea, let's dive into
Yes.
it. Trigger warnings. That is something that till this day I still
You
laugh about
guys,
it.
I've read them for shits and giggles. Usually I'm not the kind of person who reads trigger warnings because I like to be surprised.
Me neither.
But I had heard about the trigger warning list. So I was like, I guess I'll read it. So here for you all to enjoy. Warning. This book is intended for those over the age of legal adulthood. All characters depicted herein are over 18 years of age. Thank you, Harley. This book contains
For
graphic
reals.
sexual scenes, including intense fetish, kink, and BDSM related activities. This book is not to be used as a resource for sexual education or as an
We will do
informational
it
guide to
either way.
sex or BDSM. She has to say that, but we're all just like, okay, now you stand here. Hold on. Okay, now I'm gonna get on my no. This isn't. I'm just
Yep.
saying. And then she kisses his. Okay, no. All right. This book is not to be used as a resource for sexual education or as an informational guide to sex or BDSM. The activities depicted within this book are dangerous, and the scenes within this book are not meant to depict realistic expectations of BDSM or fetish related activities. This
Mhm.
book is strictly a work of fictitious fantasy. And then after that, the kinks fetishes within. erotic humiliation, degradation, fear play, pain play, knife play, consensual non-consent, orgasm denial, boot worship, spanking, crying, blowjobs, clowns, group sexual activities, spit, bondage, public play, blood play, raw
Mm.
sex/sex
Mm.
without a condom. Reader discretion is advised, and that's 18. 18. And I would move that clowns be moved from kinks fetishes up to warning. I'm unwell. I'm not okay. Question for you, Susie. When you
Yes.
read that, did you read it before you read the book?
Yeah. I went in, like, I bought this book and I went in
Mhm.
understanding that I need to read everything in it. So I was like, okay, let's
Mhm.
read it just for funsies because I want to know, because I want to know how, all the
Mhm.
knowledge. And then honestly, when I saw clowns, I think I sent you a voice memo that I said, yeah, right, I did, and said something like,
Yeah. You're like,
okay,
I don't know.
dude, I had to Google it. And there's a thing about clowns and women and fetishes, and there's a thing. But the more
Okay,
you know.
what was your like picture? Were you picturing like Happy the Clown with the red and the white and the big wig, the like rainbow wig and the giant shoes? Is that what you were picturing with clowns? That's what
Yes.
I was picturing as well, and thank fucking God it
No.
was not.
You finished the first book, right? You know already everything.
Yes. Hmm.
I love
Yeah.
how Vincent talks about clowns, and I think that's beautiful and great. But I have that freaking image in my mind of that ugly clown, and I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah. Still it for me, I appreciate the fact that Vincent can see and appreciate the beauty and nuance of clowning as a hobby and or profession or art. It's still a no for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog. So, Susie, I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Rapid
No.
fire. Have you ever read a book that started with such an extensive trigger warning list?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay. What was another one that compared? It like first comes to mind.
The first comes to mind, I will say Haunting Adeline. That's like the first one that comes to my mind like that. But I know I have read other ones that have like heavy trigger warnings or like fetishes and stuff like that. And I actually,
Okay.
now that we're talking about this, I love when authors take the time to tell the people, do not read this if this is a problem for you, because I think this is something new. We didn't. I don't remember reading these things before. This
Yeah.
warning of, you're gonna be reading shit that is gonna fuck you up, maybe, and it's gonna stir some things in your chest or in your tummy, but you're gonna be fine, and you don't have to read it if you don't want to. And I love the fact that they're doing it now. And maybe with the Dare wasn't like that heavy, but then with Losers 1 and 2, my heart. I know.
We can't talk about it yet, Susie. That's for
No,
the
I know.
next episode.
That's episode 2. I promise you're gonna love it. But
It's episode 2. Okay.
yes, I
Yeah.
have. I have. What about you? Have you?
I think Haunting Adeline had that, but I don't remember it sticking out to me as much because it was just kind of like a small little blip at the beginning.
Hmm.
But other than that, I hadn't read super dark. I hadn't read too much that required trigger warnings. I
Hmm.
mean, I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that authors these days are a lot more in touch with the fact that people who like to read romance and dark romance often are people who do have trauma, and they understand that some people use it as a way to cope with their trauma, but other people, it doesn't work like that for them. So I think it's just coming from a place where people are starting to be in therapy more regularly, and we're talking more about the fact that triggers exist and the fact that PTSD isn't just for people coming home from war, and we're all just becoming more educated as a whole. And I think that that's what kind of begat this newer trend of adding trigger warnings at the beginning of books, and I fucking love it. I'm
Love it.
always for informed consent. You have to be aware of what's going on before you dive into anything. And a book is just like that. And I love it.
Absolutely. I freaking love it. Heck
So,
yes. You have any other questions for me?
okay. So where on the list of books that you read this year, where would you rank The Dare?
Okay. Okay. Let's do something really quick. Um, you know how I have this obsession with Ilmari, Caleb, and Jacob and Jake, and I will never like
Uh-huh.
just choose one. I will not choose one of this series. I will
Mm-hmm.
put them three together, and I will say
Okay.
no doubt they're in my number two, like top three.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
What
I would
about you?
have to say top three for me as yeah, I'd have to say top three for me as well. But I am really bad at picking favorites because I love things for different reasons.
Mm.
I just know that I got back on my reading journey after like a 12-year reading slump this year, the beginning of this year. And so I have been ingesting books. And for anybody who's sitting there going, oh, I didn't read enough books, and all these book talk influencers and bookstagram influencers and podcasters, all they read all these books, and it makes me feel bad because I'm not able to read 17 books a month. I have not read that many this
Mm.
year. I am a mom and I have a whole life. And right now I'm solo parenting because my spouse is deployed. So, like, I'm doing it all by myself. I don't get a chance to read a lot. That doesn't make my love for reading any less valid. Just wanted to throw that out there. I love them all for different reasons. I read everything from ACOTAR to this to Ice Planet Barbarians, and I can't.
You can
Number
do it.
one. They're all number ones in my heart.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this one was number one, like the series.
I'll say this one was number one because it was eye-opening to me, and
I
I
second that.
don't think I like, okay, so like with ACOTAR, I was like, oh, it's really great, but it could have been less wordy, or this was kind of problematic, or this character
Yes.
really disappointed me at some point. There's not one part of this series that I would change. Not one bit. It's perfect. This is a perfect book series. Yeah. So was Tierney and Chelsea the ones that made you want to read the book, or was it something else that made you want to read it?
I am a sucker for anything white shoes, anything polyamory, anything, reverse harm, even though they don't use that term anymore. I love it. I read the
Wait,
dare
they
because
don't use reverse harem anymore? Oh my
I
god.
mean, I saw some comments on TikTok. Actually, I uploaded a video on, I think, on on our TikTok, and someone said they don't use that term anymore. They only use white shoes. Okay, perfect. I love
Huh,
a
okay.
RH. I always say it, but yes, I'm a sucker for anything reverse hard and
Mhm.
white shoes and polyamory. So I read it there because I knew it was kinky, and that's my shit. But uh I read the other two books because I knew they were going to be poly, like extremely poly, and like we all get together
Oh.
with the all of us. So that was my thing, and I was like, yay! So that was definitely reason number one. Number two, it's because
Mhm.
right now, honestly, anything Harley Laroux writes, I'm gonna read it. I don't care. I will definitely read it.
Yeah. Mhm.
What
I
about
can't
you?
wait for The Soul Witch and that whole series. Um Honestly, I read it because Chelsea, she had her whole spiel. She's like, "Look at this book. Look at it. It's itty bitty." And I was like, "Oh, I could," because it's hard for me to find time to read a book. And I was like, "Oh, I could read that." And then she told me that it was just pure filth, and I was
I
there. I'm like,
remember.
that few pages?
If you haven't like listened to that episode, go and listen because he's so funny. Chelsea's phenomenal.
That's episode 6. So
Yes.
go and listen to it. It's hilarious. So yeah, that was really what got me. And I got the book, and I held on to it for a while, and then I was taking a flight to Minneapolis. It's like a 2-hour flight, and I was like, perfect.
I remember.
Not perfect. I got a middle seat between some abuela and then some like 30-year-old engaged. She looked like maybe her first kiss was at the altar, innocent, beautiful, sweet looking woman. And I was just like, and I at this, they look over, it's not even small font.
Listen, I
They
have a
look,
series on my TikTok, on my socials, that is Book Talk Girlies Have Priorities. We have priority. We gotta do what we gotta do. If you have to read in the middle of a plane, you gotta read in the
Mhm.
middle of a plane. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, what are your thoughts on the cover? If you're listening, it is a person, right? I'm
Mhm.
assuming masculine presenting, right? Man, with his hands pulling his own mouth open. Just
Yeah.
like one hand coming from like the top and then the other one pulling his bottom jaw. And he's covered in these very bold blackout tattoos and they make beautiful necklaces.
Okay. My thoughts. Welcome to my tech talk. This is one of my favorite things from this book. I think it's not
Mhm.
telling you anything and it's telling you everything at the same time. You see the tattoos. You see it's
Mhm.
like masculine, but at the same time it's kind of, I don't know, but it's kind of kinky. Like, what are you doing? You know? And
There's a
at the
little bit
same
of
time,
there's a little bit of pain.
yeah. And then at the same time, you have like the dare
Mhm.
here, and you know that something is going to go
Mhm.
down. And I love it. Definitely one of my favorite things is this
Mhm.
cover from this book because it's so mysterious. But at the same time, you know something good is going to
Mhm.
happen. What about you?
Oh yeah. Um, Purple is my favorite color, and it will continue to be. I do love the new cover that just dropped by Harley, and it was the angel
Mm-hmm.
costume that the main character wears, the female main character wears in this book. But I think this right here is probably one of my prized possessions, the fact that I got this cover. It's gorgeous. And
I
it's
love it.
like well, it took me a long time to realize what it was because it's a little bit abstract and I really love it.
Okay, so I do
Okay.
have some questions for you now. I want to know,
Okie dokie,
like, your
artichoke.
first thoughts on Jessica Martin.
Okay, so Jessica Martin, I, Harley did an amazing job of making me feel exactly what she wanted me to feel about Jessica, which is that she was a stuck-up bitch.
Oh my
And
God, yes.
I remember reading and I'm like the other thing was it starts she's in the car on the way to this party and her friend is like, "Oh my god, look at that car behind us. That's got to be Manson. Like didn't he get expelled?" And I was just sitting there reading it like, "Why do you care so much? Why do you remember exactly what his car looks like?" Because I don't remember what people's cars look like from school. So why would you remember what people's cars look like from school? And I was like, "God, how fucking petty." And then the when she's getting all hoity-toity playing the beer pong, I was like annoyed because I've met girls like that who value themselves based on how well they can hold their own in male-dominated spaces.
Mm, mm, mm.
And that's the only way that they have value. It's like, oh, I can kick a guy's ass and it's sexy because they think that it's sexy that I can beat them at something like this and blah, but it's like something little. And I was just fully annoyed because she felt to me like a pick me girl,
Oh, definitely. That was the
and
whole thing in my mind.
fucking hated it. Yeah, and I was like, oh god, somebody needs to knock her down a peg. I was so happy just watching her get absolutely demolished. This whole book.
She gets
Uh,
very
yeah.
humiliated, but you know what? She enjoys it. And that's
Mm,
the part that I freaking love because she was hating it, but she was enjoying it and she hated that she loved it. So
mhm,
yes, I just gonna summarize it in
mhm,
one word. Bitch. She's a total suck up
mhm.
bitch.
Okay.
And I will not want her as a friend in this book.
Mhm.
In this one, she will never be my friend. Even
Yeah.
after the whole thing and to the last page, no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Manson?
Yeah.
Like initial ones, not like the whole
Okay,
thing,
here's
just initial thoughts.
okay. All right. So, initial thoughts on Manson. At first, I was like, is he trying too hard to be edgy
Mm, 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 mm,
because of
mm,
the
mm, mm.
costume and everything? But I had to remind myself it's a Halloween party. You're supposed to try hard at a Halloween party because you're dressing up. Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know. It seems a little bit too cliche. And then when I what okay, I'll tell you when my switch flipped from being like, oh, this seems like a caricature of the loser in high school to
Mm,
me fucking loving him. And it was when they were doing the drink or dare
mhm,
and he takes her underwear, right?
mhm.
As part of the dare. And the next time she sinks one, she dares him to give the underwear back. And he's just like, I'll drink. And he keeps the underwear and he's like, I'll take the L because he was not going to give her underwear back. And I was like, I love him immediately. I fucking love
Yeah.
him. I was, it flipped. I went from being like, I don't know, to like 100% I would die for this man.
And just for funsies,
So yeah.
sinners, he does not give back the underwear ever, 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 ever.
Mm-mm.
So we love that.
Ever. Ever.
I'm not gonna lie to you. My first thought was he doesn't have any money. That
What
was
a
a problem
bitch.
to me. I
Are
mean,
you sure you wouldn't be friends with Jessica?
listen, we have an age, you and I. We know things that
Mhm.
younger people don't. We know that money is important,
True.
don't we? I don't know how we're gonna manage that. And actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. One of my problems reading Losers 1 and 2 was thinking, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna make money? Like, I get it. It's four
Mhm.
men, one woman. I know they can make things work, but oh my God, how are my men going to make this work? They did. We love that. But that was my first thought. Not gonna lie to you. I'm putting it all out there. This is a very
Yeah.
honest podcast.
Mhm.
Second thought. Oh
For
my
sure.
God. Yes. Because he is a total master. He's not a sir. He's not a daddy. You know, he's a master. And that energy, not everybody has that energy, and he has it.
Okay, question.
Mm.
I will have to be honest with you. I was initially turned off by the body type. So in my head, he's a very like a runner's body, like very
Yeah.
like he's got muscle, but it's because he's also clearly like 20 pounds lighter than I am. And I'm like, I don't know. If he can't pick me up and throw me, I don't want him. If I can pick him up and cradle him like a wee babe, I don't
Mm.
want him. And so I've actively had to get over this scrawny man syndrome. I don't even need somebody to be like chiseled like a Greek god. I just
Yeah.
need you
No,
to
I get it. I
not look
totally
like
get
you're
what you're
gonna blow
saying.
away in the wind.
But listen, listen, listen. I know
So
what you're
yeah, that
saying,
took me
and
a
I
bit.
thought about that. And I thought about that while reading the books.
Mhm.
And the more I thought about it, the
Mhm.
more I love the fact that she made him that way. Because he was a boy that grew up not having food. He was
Mhm.
malnourished. So that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I freaking love the fact that
Yeah.
she made him that, and she didn't make him like, he's a very chunky guy with a lot of muscle. And no.
It wouldn't have fit the character arc. And as you get to know him
Mm-hmm.
as a character afterward, or as you go through the series, the body type doesn't matter anymore because he doesn't need to be able to bench press 250 to be able to get you on your
Mm-hmm.
goddamn knees.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Those are
that was
our
just
thoughts
something
on
that came to
Manson.
mind. If we're being honest here.
Yeah, like I
um
really, really, really love that Harley made all the characters. Like, this is one of my favorite books this year because they made the characters very realistic. One and two, the character development in these books is so phenomenal. I was having very
yeah,
beautiful moments in my body, and then I was crying like a baby at the same time. How do they do
yeah.
that? I don't know, but they did
I don't know. I
it.
don't know. All right, so that brings us to the next bit. This book is only 143 pages, but I don't know about you. For me, the fact that this book has obscene amounts of bits that make my tinglies glisten. And then on top of it, it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like I'm hastily packing a suitcase. It felt so coordinated, so planned out. It had such a beautiful flow to it. It made sense. It didn't seem like there's no way they can accomplish all that in one night. Like it all was perfect. Like the perfect amount of stuff. I
Okay, but
Have you ever read a book like that? Like that well?
can we just say Sajimas? Are you hearing this? It's possible, babes. It's possible.
Brevity, baby. Is there anything else like that that's ever like captivated you and felt like, because I sometimes I feel like the timing of things is like, I'm sorry, you did how much in an hour? Or like,
Absolutely.
oh, she had 3 orgasms and it's been 5 minutes and you're like, what?
Yeah. For me, this book had the perfect pace.
Hmm.
It was just so well thought out that when you think about it, you're like, and this was only going to be a little novella. This was not supposed to have a series. And I was flabbergasted when I found out that, because I'm like, this was going to be the it. That was it. 143
That was
pages
gonna
of
be it.
Manson, some clowns and Jess, and that's it. And then we got the losers, and she made like to me it's insane that those books were not supposed to, become real, and they did, and they're so
Hmm.
good. And it's like, it's a perfect amount of words, it's a perfect amount of maybe tragedy and sex and orgasms, because sometimes, as you said, we read books and we're like, oh, 8 orgasms in 1 hour, and I'm like, okay, it's possible, of course it is, but it's like, no.
For most of us, that's not realistic.
Yeah, and they made it so good, like, so if that's the word that you just said, realistic, it was so realistic.
Hmm. Yeah. It's definitely the kind of book where you can imagine yourself. Like you read books and you're like,
Yes, you can.
there's no way. God, what a fantasy. There's no way that this would ever happen. You read this and you're like, I could stage an evening where this could exactly happen. We could put on a play. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Erica Lust. May I petition for you to work with Harley Laroux to turn this into a goddamn movie? Begging you. Please.
If not
Please.
this, any of these scenes from book 1 or 2, any of them.
All right, Susie, let's say you were in Jessica Martin's position and you're at a
Yes,
party with all these people that you
yes,
know. You would have taken the
yes.
dare?
Whatever. I don't know what you were going to say, but yes, yes. If my night is gonna end like that, yes.
Okay, but if you didn't know and like you it's not like you read the book and you knew. Like would you have ever taken this dare knowing and all you knew was that this person who you have been drawn to but told yourself you detested your whole life, you were going to be an indentured servant to him for the whole night, and he's already made you kiss and lick his boots, and he's taken
Mm,
your underwear from you?
mm.
Would you have done it, not knowing what else was
Yes,
going to happen?
just be. I will say yes, just because they had this thing since forever, those two characters, and I knew that
Yeah.
something had to happen because they had to explore that in some way. And yes, they decided to be kinky and humiliation and spanking and all that, but it was beautiful the way it was. And at the end of the day, this book
Hmm.
shows redemption, and that's one of my favorite things in a book from her. And I
Hmm.
loved it. It was phenomenal. Yes, I will say yes. What about you? Will you take it?
And forgiveness
Mm,
from him.
yes.
Okay, so I want to say normally, if I had been sober at this point, I would have said no, because I would have been very nervous about the embarrassment, humiliation, because I would have been like, I don't know what you're gonna do.
Mm.
The fact that they were playing drink or dare, and I would have been not sober. I would have listened to the part of me that would have been like, don't let this motherfucker win. You ain't no bitch. Take the dare. And I would have 100% done it out of stubbornness. And that's purely it. And then I would have had my world absolutely rocked. Susie, dear. What were your first thoughts as you shut that book after the end and sat there for a moment?
Honestly, I don't think it will be appropriate to talk about that in this podcast. I think we need a patron for that. Honestly, because
Your first thought was
I will say no comments.
okay.
What about you, Reshea? What were
Oh, hey,
your
look.
first thoughts?
I wrote this down when we did this, and I didn't remember that I wrote this
Mm-hmm.
down when we made this outline, but my first thoughts were, God, I wish I could watch it. I need Erica Less to turn this into a movie. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to ask. Do not make me beg. I will beg. Are you ready for this? We're going to
Yeah.
do a quick rapid fire of your top 3 favorite moments of the book.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I don't know. Top 3 moments from this book. Number
Mhm.
one, and it's non-sexual, and I love that because who is
Mhm.
she? She's evolving. Um, it has to be when she surrenders and she enters his room, because that in the book, when you read it, that is
Mhm.
a before and after moment in like her, in her personality, in how she thinks and how she used to be. And I love that
Mhm.
little of a moment of character development. Oh, loved it. Number one,
Yeah.
no doubt. Number two, oh my
Mhm.
god. Oh my god, number two. It has to be spitting when he spits the beer in her mouth. Loved
Oh my
it.
god.
After
Mhm.
that one,
Valid points. Mhm.
I know this is gonna be weird because I'm not blowy girly, but the clowns though. The clowns, that was phenomenal.
Well, that's because you're a why choose girly.
I know.
That's why.
That was like everything in that scene was to me. It was phenomenal. What about
Yeah.
you?
Okay, top 3 for me. The bathroom scene.
Yes.
The scene when or the part when the dare really starts for her and he makes her crawl to get him a beer and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Who said that you were drinking tonight?" Just the utter disregard for what she was planning on doing that night and being like, "No, no, no, you're mine now. You're my thing. And that's it. That's all you're good for is to take care of me." That.
Mm.
And the third one is a non-sexual one as well. I've got one on my list because I'm also evolving. I would say it was I loved getting to hear a little bit of the character development of Manson and like the breadcrumbs of his background of abuse and how he was living with a social worker. Um, that really humanized the characters for me and made it less of a caricature of a master and made like it gave him layers as a person and I really appreciated that.
That humanizing of
Mhm.
characters when they are in a dominant position, to
Mhm.
me is so freaking important, because you want to see vulnerability. That's how we connect as
Mhm.
humans. They
Yeah.
make a wonderful job in this series because all of them, they are relentless
Yeah.
if they want to be, but when they have to be vulnerable and cry and be soft, they will be, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the things that we didn't ever think that we would be into until
Mm,
this book destroyed who we are as a person.
yeah. The no masturbation. He basically says you don't have permission to masturbate. And the edging in this book is insane. The orgasm control is phenomenal. So I didn't think I would be into that, but I think I am. What about you?
Uh Never in my life have I wanted to be called a bootlicker until I read this book. Whew. I read that and I could smell the leather. All right, your
Love it,
turn.
love it. The I just said it before, when he like kind of like drinks and when he spits on her mouth, phenomenal. Yeah, go
Whew.
ahead.
That's the only way I want to drink my beer from now on. Let's see. Okay. Um, I did not think that I liked the word master in a sexual way. In fact, it was kind of weird for me to read it. But I don't think any other word fits him. Oh, except God. Because when straight up she's like, "Oh my God," and he goes, look at me when you're talking to me."
I know I'm into this, but let's add it either way. The crawling, but most of the crawling
Mm,
is the humiliation play because that, like around
yeah.
her friends or her former friends or her like old friends, yeah.
I did not think that I would be into him having these moments, this real conversation with her where he calls her out for being a bitch their whole high
Mm,
school career. Because I am very non-confrontational, and for me though, like I sit there and go, "Oh, I know I fucked up," and then I overthink it and overthink it, and then I'm like, "Let me just handle it," and then I hope nobody else notices, and then I can just do better. I know she's not like that, but that's how I am. But when he called her out for being a bitch, and I could tell by the way that Harley wrote Jessica, it was cathartic for her, and she needed to hear it, and it was not an anxiety inducing moment for her. I was like, "Oh, okay, I can read this." I didn't think I'd be able to read something like that because I thought it would just give me anxiety. So yeah.
yes, it was very hot. He made it
Mhm.
hot though, so maybe that's why.
That's probably why. Yeah.
My last thing I will say is when she was crying, bawling her eyes out, and he was asking for her consent. And that to me was so pure and beautiful, and you don't see a lot of consent talk in books. A lot of dark romances, they don't
Mhm.
have that. And the fact that even
Mhm.
on the other two books that came out of this after this one, they are always asking about consent. And
Mhm.
I know that they say this
Ugh,
is not a good example of like BDSM or kinks or whatever,
it
but that
is.
part, please take it because it's so good. She was bawling her eyes out and he was like, tap me, what's the color, how are you feeling? And wow, like
Mhm.
this self restraint that he has in the moment, because you want to do what you're doing,
Mhm.
you are in the scene, you are in the character, and he did so well. I loved it. It was phenomenal. We read 143 pages of a lot of things because it's not only
Mhm.
smut. This book has a lot of dynamics and different things are going on, right?
Mhm.
So what are like a few things that this book made you think about?
The number one for me was the importance of trust in power dynamic relationships. A lot of times you see power dynamic relationships in porn and in smut and in uh books like 50 Shades of Grey and things like that. And a lot of times it's just they're like random people that just decide that they're gonna be your dom, or you go, yeah, sure. And then you see
Mm-hmm.
this on, FetLife and on Field, and people are just looking for a dom and looking for a sub, or you see it on subreddits, and you don't realize how you can't really just trust somebody like that because you don't really know them, and you don't think of how important it is until there's a situation in this book where Jess is really crying, and when you're with somebody and they're crying and they are in pain, you have to not only the sub doesn't only have to trust that the dom is not going to go beyond their limits if they do call their safe word, or if they do cross the line, um, or if they ignore a hard boundary that's been previously set. But also the dom has to be able to trust that the sub is going to be honest with them, because you can't have a sub who you don't trust will say, "Hey, I've had enough." A lot of times people who are in sub positions are also people who may struggle with voicing their own concerns and prioritizing their own needs for fear of like ruining the vibe or ruining the scene. The dom
more
has
than
to be able to trust that the sub is going to vocalize that.
more than that, more than sometimes like reading the scene, there's some people that have so little self-love that they want to destroy themselves even if it's not
Mhm.
them. So that is, I think that point
Mhm.
is phenomenal because
Lucas.
I was going to say that, but I was like, let's just say them for episode 2. But yes, Lucas is like that.
Okay.
You don't see a penis in this book until like the last few pages.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that you don't see a lot in these type of books. Let's be honest, and
Mm-hmm.
they made it so good.
The first penis appears at page 106.
And that's the clowns.
The clowns 106, and then
Okay,
Manson doesn't even pull his junk out until after the knife scene, right? Page 136.
that's why we love this book so much. It's 143 pages of
Look at
sensual
this.
play of yeah, I know.
That's it.
It's
That's it. That's it for fucking. That's it.
2 pages, 2 or 3 pages. Yeah, totally. It's like
Yeah.
there was so much, sensual play and this power dynamic that he made it so hot. By the way, this book is
Mhm.
only on her POV. You only live everything through
Mhm.
Jessica's eyes. It's phenomenal. I had
Mhm.
said that word a lot on this episode, but really, I would describe this as phenomenal. So, Reshea, was
Okay,
high
that's fine.
school like that for you?
No. I went to a school that's mostly Mormon kids, so no.
No,
Mm-mm.
the Mormon kids didn't get freaky.
No, well also like there weren't like super obvious cliques, I
Mm,
guess.
mm.
Like there were friend groups, but I mean, people weren't getting fucking wasted all of the time at school. Um, there were a lot of teen pregnancies though, so I know people were getting freaky. I guarantee you those girls were not enjoying themselves.
Oh, and you get pregnant? No, no, immediately no.
Welcome to conservative USA. How about
Okay,
you? Was high school like that for you in Venezuela?
not on the
Uh,
sexual side, yes, on the crazy party side.
really?
Yes, 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 it was. Yes. We had something that was called matinee. That is when you go out of school, you go and party hard after school.
Oh, like in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a matinee, and a matinee is like what you
Yes.
call an
Yes.
afternoon performance of a musical, but except
Mm-hmm.
it's you guys just getting fucked up. That's good.
And
That's
it
cool.
wasn't even sometimes on like people's houses. Like we had like some places where
Mhm.
kind of like, nightclubs and stuff like that. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
What life did you live? I
Oh, it
had
was
such a
great.
boring life. Oh my God.
It was
I was so boring.
it was great. It
Oh
was great.
my God.
Okay, one point that we
All
want
right.
to definitely tell you guys is this story is like is high school people, but it's not based in high school because they graduated already. When everything happens in this book, they are out of high school. They all graduated. Well, not Manson, but that's another thing. But yes, this is not a high school book.
Yep. They're in college. They're all 19, 20 years old. So that's another thing I appreciated. I'm so happy that I finally found a genre of book where I'm reading about adults.
Oh yes,
So, yay.
yes. So Reshea, if you had to choose one character, just one, which character will be your favorite? Only from the dare.
Manson. That's why I'm choosing Manson.
For me, the lady that gives Manson a house and an opportunity to be someone more than just a homeless kid and
Yeah.
another kid on the system. So that lady has my heart
Yeah.
forever because thanks to her, we have Losers 1 and 2, and we love it.
Oh,
Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Tell me everything.
um, I have no I have no final thoughts. This book turned my brain to mush, and I'm okay with it.
My final thoughts. Read it right now. Like, order it right now. Make Harley Laroux rich because we want more.
God. Yeah, just, thank you. If Harley ever gets it, I feel like we've almost reached stalker level with Harley. commenting on
We have.
every single Instagram post, making videos and tagging them in it. Listen, we just love the work that you have done.
Oh, so
And
much.
please don't file a restraining order. I promise I won't come near you. I just wanted you to know that. I'm just so impressed. And the fact that it's an independent author makes me so
Yes,
happy.
yes, yes, yes.
So, I mean, all of the work that went into something that was just supposed to be 143 pages, and then it became somehow Harley was able to create these really believable characters that you care about in the future books that weren't even supposed to exist. I just
Mm-hmm.
endlessly impressed
Yeah,
by the talent involved in writing this. So that's it.
absolutely. We freaking love it.
Yeah.
I know that they probably are like these girlies again, but I know you love it because on the books you always say any review, anything that you share on social media, we really appreciate it. And I'm like, that's me. So thank you so much.
Hello,
So
hi, it's us, your number one fans.
yes, so yes,
All
sinners, I
right.
will say definitely go ahead and read the Dare. And next week we're gonna have
Mhm.
users 1 and 2. You're not ready because if you think this is hot,
I'm so excited.
those two books are just
I
thank you,
believe in
sinners.
us.
We love you. You are here again. We're so happy that you are tuning in for second season. We're really happy. We're really grateful too. And for this new year,
Mhm.
2024, we are wishing you lots of discipline because you can do whatever you want, but you have to be disciplined about it, okay? If you have to take medication, take it. If you have to do whatever you have to do, do it.
Hey,
You can do it.
that feels pointed. That feels pointed to me. That feels like you were saying that to me.
And to me, this is a message for future me when she wants to fuck up, you know?
I'm feeling better. Maybe I should stop taking my antidepressants.
No,
Dum.
no, do not. Look at me. Do
Susie,
not.
Susie, circa March 2024. No, stop it. Because you can't get enough of us. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok. Apparently, we have a threads at Come With Us Pod. And you can find all of our links at comewithuspod.com. Be sure to leave a 5-star review for us. Pretty please with the cherry on top.
You.
And if you like the episode, please share it with any and all of your friends. Maybe not like your conservative grandma, though. We don't want to give her a heart attack.
Definitely not. And this season is gonna be so snotty. So share with the people that are like a little bit open minded or want to try new things or want to like get into reading this book or into this type of lifestyle. Please remember to review us. It's very important to us. That makes us grow and have better episodes for you. So thank you. Remember that you can also see these videos if you want on YouTube. And if you're over there, subscribe, babes. If you're over here on YouTube, hello, subscribe because why? What are you not subscribed?
That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. Sinners, you've been good little angels. We're so happy to have you here for the second season, and we cannot wait to like create more freaking great, kinky, crazy, very smutty episodes for you. Stay wicked, stay wild, and keep reading a lot of smut. We love you. Bye.